How can see? There's a story here which I actually is on the front page of your newspaper, and it has to do with our own what I call anti-corruption crusader, Professor Kweku Azar, who has been spotlighting what he believes to be the unsustainable and inequitable nature of the gratuities, and he uses the judiciary as a case study. And I notice it's been published by the Inside newspaper, and here it says salaries of EC boss, AG heads of IGBS increased from 34,000 cedis to a whopping 62,000 in 4 years. Now, a renowned US-based Ghanaian lawyer and scholar, Professor Stephen Kwekwasari, popularly known as Kwekwaza, has shared some details of the salaries of heads of independent government bodies, including the Electoral Commission of Ghana and the Auditor General's Department. The details showed the salaries of the chairperson of the EC, the Auditor General, the Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SRAJ, and other IGB heads increased by more than 80% between 2020 and 2024. Yes. Fact. It says the heads of these IGBs were earning over 34,000 cedis per month as salary in 2020. This increased by 4% to about 36,000 in 2021. In 2022, their salary saw a further increase to over 38,000 cedis, which then spiked to 50,000 in 2023, accounting for the increase of about 30%. The EC boss and the other heads of the IGBS saw their salaries increase again by about 23% to over 61,000 cedis in 2024. The salaries went up again by about 2% to over 62,000 in 2024. Kwekwaza criticized the rate at which the salaries of the heads of IGBs increased. He said that while the heads of the independent bodies were enjoying salary increases, ordinary Ghanaians saw no growth in their wages during the same period. Total increase from 2020 to 2024, about 81%. Now compare that to CD depreciation, 2020-2024, 50 to 60%. Real wage growth, basically zero or negative for many Ghanaians. Debt restructuring for ordinary Ghanaians, haircuts on bonds, pensions, and savings. While citizens and pensioners were forced to share the burden and tighten belts, IGBs and surely other Article 71 beneficiaries were quietly awarded backdated raises. Now, he wrote this in a post shared on Facebook, 20th May 2025. Then he says, they get salary arrears, we get austerity. They get adjusted emoluments, we get emergency levies. The other independent government bodies in Ghana include the National Commission for Civic Education, the Public Services Commission, the National Media Commission, the National Development Planning Commission, the Lands Commission, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO. The other independent governance bodies in Ghana include the National Commission for, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And so Google has cited a document approving 2021-2024 salaries for chairpersons and members of independent, and it goes on and on and on and on. So basically what it's saying, the big world of a difference between what the ordinary man on the streets of Accra, ordinary worker is going through, and what our elites are amassing to themselves. And he thinks that we need to really nip this in the bud.
Can you give me the daily graphic?
Yeah, the daily graphic. Okay, that's fine.
There's
yes.
a very interesting study in the daily graphic of today. You know, and where is this study? This is daily graphic, page 5.
Yes.
And the story is Public Workers in Africa See Wages Fall survey.
Okay.
And it reads, public spending cuts across six African countries have resulted in incomes of health and education workers falling by up to 50% in 5 years.
55%.
Leaving them struggling to make ends meet, according to international NGO Action Aid. The Human Cost of Public Sector Cuts in Africa report, published on Tuesday, found that 97% of the healthcare workers surveyed in Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Liberia, Malawi, and Nigeria could not cover their basic needs, such as food and rent, with their wages. This is today's daily graphic. The International Monetary Fund is to blame for these countries' failing public systems, the report said, as the agency advises government to significantly cut public spending to pay back foreign debt and so on. This is today's daily graphic.
That's a thinking country.
Okay, this is today's daily graphic. You understand? So if under these circumstances, the incomes of some category of public servants doubles
Yes.
in only a few years, it raises alarm. You understand? I mean, what is the moral justification for paying any Ghanaian 62,000 cedis a month and paying another Ghanaian 400 cedis a month? Show me any morality who can justify that.
Qualification?
It justifies that. You think so?
Our special skills, pay me for it.
Please.
Those skills can't be found. It's rare. It's not common. I own it. Pay me good money for it.
You are just saying it to stimulate discussion, or you believe it? Maybe I want to be sure. I want to know who I'm talking to. If you're just saying it to stimulate discussion, fair. But if you believe in it,
they'll tell you. Those who are earning those salaries will tell you that.
No, what do you say? What do you say?
I think it's unfair.
It's scandalous.
Yeah, it's unfair.
Nothing on earth
It's unfair.
can justify paying somebody 500 cedis a month and paying another in the same situation. They go to the same market and so on, paying another 62,000 cedis a month. And you see, these special skills we're talking about,
Yes.
please, don't. Because the people who do the 500 cedi a month job, the judges cannot do their work. They don't have those skills to do their work. They cannot do their work. You understand? They can't.
They may not be.
They can't. I'm telling you, they can't. You want me to discuss some of those?
Well, some of those judges, before they became judges, may have been doing something before they became judges. I mean, for instance,
I'm
if you're
not
talking
saying that
about
they
an
were not doing
accountant,
something.
an accountant is paid, say, 500 Ghana cedis at somewhere. The fact that I'm a judge doesn't mean that I can't do the accountant's job.
Did I tell you the jobs they can do?
What can they?
This is morning television. You want me to tell you the jobs they can do?
No, don't.
Yeah?
Don't.
So you know the jobs they can do.
I know, I get that.
So this argument about skills as well, we should drop it.
Okay.
Because their skills, Master, some of the things that people do. I mean, the story is told of a man who works with the electricity company of Ghana. And his mother-in-law is going to the market in the morning and sees him on top of the pole trying to fix some wires as well.
Yes.
And the mother-in-law says, "Is this what you do for a living? Please calm down. It's not worth it. Climbing that pole early in the morning to go and fix." Master.
So your point is everybody's important. Everybody's job is important. So pay everybody well.
More than that.
Okay.
More than that.
Right.
Every human being needs a certain amount of calories to survive.
True.
Every human being needs a certain level of health care to stay alive. We all need to have clean water and so on.
Yeah.
In fact, if you deny some human beings the right to have a certain quantity of calories per day, you have sentenced them to death.
True.
You have just sentenced them to slow death, not just death, but slow death.
Okay.
You understand? And that is why I'm in full agreement with Professor Kukuaza.
Yeah.
He's raising relevant questions that we need to look at.
He talks about elite capture.
You know, but I won't style it that way.
And he started that way.
But there's the need to ensure basic survival, for our citizens. I mean, do we want the situation in the United States of America where 2% of the population owns 98% of the total wealth of the country? Is that what we want?
Yeah.
2% of the population owns 98% of the total wealth of the whole country. Is that what we are driving towards? So I think we should put the brakes and attempt, try to build a more equitable society. No be so?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I share in the equitable
We have just 4 minutes.
distribution of wealth. But I was just wondering, Kwesi, in respect of Kwekwaza's zooming in on the judiciary and their salaries, and who determines the salaries of the judiciary, especially the...
To be fair to Kwekwaza, he's not zooming in on the judiciary. He tackles many other sectors.
Okay. Because I know their salaries go through a certain process.
Okay.
I think they are Article 71.
One holders, yes.
Including your salary.
Absolutely. So it goes through a certain process. So maybe we should be tackling it from that angle. where a committee is set up and then they put up all these kind of allowances.
Okay.
So for a Supreme Court judge, he comes in, this is the decision by a committee that was set up under the Constitution. And what can the Supreme Court judge do? So I think we should be tackling it from that aspect, of course. But I understand the issues about equitability, because I mean, if you're a judge and I am a security guard in the courts, and I realize you are taking 60, 70, 80,000, and I'm taking this about 500, 700 Ghana cedis a month, it leads to all kinds of things. So yes, issue of equitability, I'm all for it. I mean, this goes to the core of, I mean, go to work, you work for 8 hours, another person works for 8 hours, and if you look at the disparity, it becomes
too huge.
It's too huge. It becomes a challenge. I'm sure the authorities will be listening and seeing how best they can adjust to reflect at least the living conditions of the Ghanaian people. And sometimes, we see all that the ordinary Ghanaian is looking for are the basics.
Yeah.
You know, the good roads, water is flowing through his pipes. When it's raised, he's not flooded and all that. When all these things happen and they see the disparity, sometimes they are calmed down. But he gets home and you are the director of Ghana Meteorological Agency or anything, and you've not been able to give him all the data that he needs, but you are being paid with his taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
He gets home, there's flood in his house and all that. That's what breeds the anger and all that. So they should look at it and see how best they could at least provide the basic things for any Ghanaian. Okay.